4 rounds in, and it's starting to look as if Lowy has things under control. But look underneath the surface and you'll see Lowy having to give everything he's got for those results, after multiple wipeouts in the season so far. Good evening everybody, I'm Josh Brooks and this is AF1 at Imola. And now that you've seen the pros do it a couple of hours ago, we're going to show you how to make a race at Imola exciting. We have a low grip start, longer DOS zones and smaller cars, and Lowy is not here. Lowy hasn't turned up for today's event. He is unable to join us. So it's a completely open field for that win today. We'll take you to the action now because qualifying is just getting underway. That's the wrong button. There's the right button. Contreras is at the front of the field and we'll take you around the track. Here's Contreras, currently driving the Dead Bull racing car today. This version of Imola has a few differences to the normal version of Imola. You see that really high curve on the inside of Piratella, and much more runoff on the exit of Piratella. However, the AstroTurf ground here is so low grip, even lower grip than the 94% grip you'll see at the top right of your screen now. And in the next 15 minutes, I doubt that's going to be taken anywhere higher than about 97-98%, so we're going to have a very interesting start on our hands. As I said as well, longer DRS zones. You mentioned Martin Brundle talk about how the DRS zone needs to be about 100 metres longer. It is longer here, and you'll see that in just a minute. As we look at Jack Lantern coming around the final corner of Ravazza 2, you see the wider AstroTurf on the exit there. There's the DRS zone. It starts at the gantry. So here's Jack Lantern starting the first of today's laps at Imola, but he's got Jake Feimster on his back as well. That's not going to be helpful for Feimster. He needs to be a little bit further back, I think. Maybe taking advantage of the slipstream into turn 1, but he's got dirty air all the way through the rest of the lap. But there's still plenty of time. And these lap times now are just banker laps, I would say. Because, as I said, the track grip is so low, it's at 94%. Please don't watch me on stream. Now that's Charles Leclerc, so we're going to cut to him straight away, even though he's in the pits. There he is, somewhere in one of those lot. That's one of the Mercs racing cars coming into the pits straight away. That's very interesting. Let's get a better view. Here's the onboard from Jack Lantern. He's managed to get overtaken by Feimster. You'll see Feimster, he's gone wide there onto the AstroTurf. As I say, low grip, so you've got to be very careful not to spin it. Similarly, if you go wide on that sort of second part of Aqua Minerale, the left-hand part, you could lose grip on the AstroTurf. It could also help not help you acceleration. Use all the curve on the first part of Aqua Minerale, of Variante Alta, even more than the real-life cars do. And dropping down the hill now towards Ravazza through the final 2 corners. Brake as late as you dare. Loads of apex there, trying to spin it. No, he's lost the back end. That's the end of that lap. He's gone a bit wrong and he's got in the way of Batesmo, who's spun round. Oh, there's Backer, Colin Backer, who's pitting instead now. What a great start to this session that is. Lots of carnage. Feimster goes to the top with a 33.6. That's a pretty good lap actually. We're expecting much lower times as we get to lower grip conditions. Let's get a much wider angle. That's better. Dirty goes to the top with a 33.4. That's not Jens, actually. That was Colin Backer that hit Feimster, I should say. Just like the previous couple of races, whoa! Drifting that round Villeneuve, and you having to take to the Astro on the exit. Another person going wide. That's one in the Imrak's car behind. That's Imran Shaikh. And I saw that's one of the cars driving the Campos. Drivers driving the Campos cars going off in the background. Lipsy, he did his first race in AF1 this season. Last time out at Silverstone as a reserve driver. He's now taken up a full-time position at Port Energy Racing and goes to P2 behind Andrea Di Noia. Thank you TNT Times for following. I believe that's Mother Russia, I think, in Discord. Thank you for following. So we have multiple driver changes for this race. Since we last spoke for AF1 at Silverstone, that was the 25th. We've had Gutierrez leave and he's dropped to reserve racing, replaced by Lipsy at Port Energy Racing that you're seeing now, with a purple first sector, very good lap so far, and Roman Nesh returns after his stint at the second half of the AF1 Season 3. And he's driving full-time for Imrax Racing, replacing Colin Backer, who's moved to P&J Racing alongside Jens Batesma, who, speaking of the devil, goes 0.8 of a second faster with a 32.0, and the track's at 95% grip now. Lipsy goes to P3 and instantly stops on track. Good lap as well from Ricardo. He's having a much better run this time out of Imola. Goes P8. So far, we have about 21 drivers in today's race. And I should say the results as well. After the last round, Lowy has I believe that's a 45 point lead. Lowy's on 101 points. Batesma is behind on 66. Batesma has missed one race, and Lowy will miss today's race, so that will get a lot closer. Kaya Khan Tuna is third with 56, DK fourth with 49, and then Colin Backer, now for P&J Racing, is on 48, with a very consistent 2 fourths and 2 fifths. Roman Nesh going off as well. That's just after the finish line to return to the pits. A fairly quiet session so far, I would say. No real surprises. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen with Lipsy before Silverstone. We now do. He's towards the front. He's even further towards the front now that he's got a full-time seat and sort of that security to start actually practicing with the guarantee that he'll get a space in one of these races. Bex wants to give Dirty his energy. Save some energy so you can watch the race at least. And to be fair, Dirty doesn't need much more energy. He's 9/10 down. He's 400th down after the first sector. Let's ride on board with him, shall we? As he heads up the hill towards Piratella. There's a little bit of curve on the inside. It unsettles the car a little bit, so he's had to do a bit of counter steering. He's nowhere near the exit. All the way to the left, and some grass through the first section of Aqua Minerale. No inside curb there. Use all of the left-hander. It's just straight at that point, like it used to be in the 50s and 60s. Now braking very anti-alta. Lots of curb on the left, lots of curb on the right. Don't use too much AstroTurf on the exit. As long as you have 2 wheels on that AstroTurf, you're not going to lose grip. There's no specific penalty for going onto the AstroTurf. In fact, the track limits are further than that. But the AstroTurf has low grip, if any. We're at 95% grip now, though. Dirty, another bit of counter steering needed through Ravazza 1, through the second Ravazza, loads of AstroTurf as well. That's a very scruffy lap, and he's had to back off, and he's coming straight into the pits. And despite that, he was about 400ths, 500ths down on his best time so far. Imran Shaikh has had a spin. That's at the exit of Villeneuve. Currently 16th. He's going to have to wait for Port Energy car to rejoin. Dinoya goes up to P2 with 7/10 down. Huge crash! That's Dinoya going off huge at Villeneuve, and he's upside down. Wow, okay. That's like Christian Albers in 2006, except this time he wasn't punted by Yuji Ide. He just lost it all on his own. Wow. I didn't think I'd see a crash that big at Villeneuve on their own. And I saw Verstappen. No spoilers. No spoilers. Zip. I need to get my sim hub up so I can see where people are on track. We have 5 minutes left in this session, and if we watch, that's it. This is why I need the dashboard up so I can see what's going on. Let's load that. I can see things now. He says, there we go. It's loaded now. So I now know that Shimon Novak is going to come around that corner in a minute. There he is, in the beautiful green Skoda car. Beauty into the pits as well. Lipsy will be next over the line, currently P5 and will stay P5. I don't know actually where the finish line is. Imran Shaikh will be next over the line, doesn't improve. And that's Denoy having to take to the grass to get out of the way of people like Shaikh and Ricardo coming off of their flying laps. That's a really bad line through turn 2. He's going to compromise turn 3 completely, and he's into the gravel trap and maybe a little bit stuck. Smith is off. That's a very anti-alter. As mentioned a few times during the F1 broadcasts as well, the gravel traps loom everywhere around this track. Traditional track limits. If you go off, you're in the grass and maybe even in the gravel. This could pose a problem for these cars if a mistake happens in the race. We've seen it with Charles Bertrand 3 races in a row. He's not here today to keep that record going, but if someone goes into the gravel, there's a small chance you get stuck there for a very long time. It could be beached. Speaking of the called it. That's commentator's curse right there. Imran Shaikh is now stuck in the gravel at Tamburello. There's a perfect example of what could happen if you're not careful. Is Lipsy coming around the final corner? Shimon Novak will come over the line first and goes to P8 with a 33.8. Track grip is still at 97%, 96% rather. Lipsy over the line, goes to P5. So the line is is a little bit after the Formula 1 finish line. It's just before the second kink. That's technically turn 1. It's where the start line was for Formula 1. But who can we ride on a lap with? Let's ride on more with De Noia going around his lap maybe. Shortest possible line down the straight that's basically got 5 kinks in it. Braking at just after the left kink. Braking for Tamburello. No apex on any of them. They'll unsettle the car. Out through turn 3. A bit of apex on the exit to keep the speed going. Brake early for Villeneuve. Lose the back end a little bit, but kept it going. That's helped it turn in. Beautiful stuff. Into Tozer. Brake as late as possible. Take a late apex. Pull it onto that curb to straighten out as early as possible. Up the hill now, under the Sparco bridge towards Piratella. Over the crest. Can't see anything at this point. Brake just before the tarmac change for Piratella as late as you like. Keep 2 tyres on the left on the tarmac. Braking for... So ease a little bit for Acqua Minerale. That's quite late there. He's going to have to take the run off a little bit coming through the second part of Acqua Minerale. Now levelling off, braking for very anti-alter. Late as you like. Had to lock up because I think he was going in there too fast. Keep 2 tyres on the tarmac on the exit of very anti-alter to keep the grip going. Down the hill towards Ravazza now, the final 2 corners. The trickiest braking zone on the track, in my opinion, but they're all pretty tricky. He's quite a bit of apex on the inside. He's backing off to maybe start another lap. He's got plenty of gap behind him. And here we go, out the final corner. He's going to pull all the way to the left, which is a little strange. Maybe to straighten the line out. Garcia goes to P13, meanwhile. That's a lap around Imola. Jet Alfa will be next over the line. Doesn't improve, he'll stay P9, P11 for now. Jens Bedzma has a half a second lead at the minute. He's purple the first 2 sectors. But somehow doesn't improve. He stays first. I mean, he was going to stay first anyway. Dirty will be next over the line, but Garcia has stopped on track. That's at Villeneuve, I think it is. Dirty goes to P2. Stays P2, 32.2. 2 tenths off. It's going to be quite a close lap, quite a close battle as Dirty starts his final lap. Roman Nesh will be next over the line. Moves to P12. That's a pretty good lap from him. Colin Backer. There's a bit of traffic behind Colin Backer. Backer stays P6. Beauty goes to P11 and Feimster doesn't improve, stays P3. He's the man to watch to maybe pull an upset at the end of this session. Did I maybe see a couple of people going through the gravel? No, I didn't. There's Beauty going through turn 4 now. Simon, no. Oh, Beauty's had a spin, and so has, I think that's Roman Nesh. Yes, Nesh and Beauty have both gone off the track. Thurn will be next over the line. Currently P7, a second down. He goes to P4 with a good lap. Half a second, 7/10 down on pole, and my jaw aches already. We haven't even started the race. Novak is gone off as well. Paulson, no improvement, stays P9. He's got one more attempt though. Andrea Di Noia will be next over the line. Shortest run possible goes to P3. Half a second. This is pretty close end to this qualifying session. Charles Leclerc stays P19 for now. Jet on fire next. Currently P14. We know he's on a lap. He's on P8. He's purple the second sector. Don't know about the third sector. Jens Bedzma improves by 2 tenths. Goes for a 31.8. And we're still at 97% grip, so we're going to have an interesting end to this race. Qualifying is now over, so this is the last laps we're going to get. Charles Leclerc has had a spin on his flying lap. Dirty will be next over the line. He's coming out the final corner. It's going to be over the line. He actually brakes well before. He did a 34.5 there, so nowhere near anyway. Stays P2. Lantern next. Goes up to P15. Colin Backer, currently P7. He's out in the final Ravazza corner. Feimster's had Contreras in P20 in traffic, which could cause some problems. Backer goes to P4. It's all the big guns at the top of the field. Contreras improves to P18. Feimster goes to P2 and takes an upset on the front row. Goes Jake Feimster. Excellent lap. We've still got a few laps going at the minute. Here's Ruben Andrade, or Ruben Andrade. DOS wide open, round the final corner at turn 19. Does he improve from P9? No, stays P9. A couple of laps left though. Fern. We've got Fern, Paulson, Jet on Fire, Betsma and Lipsy. Fern will stay P6. Paulson, currently P10. 1.8 seconds down. Does improve, it goes P6, less than a second off the top. That's a good lap from him. Andrade said Jet on Fire through the final corner. It's just him, Batesman and Lipsy to go. 3 laps left. Jet on Fire does improve but stays P9. He put himself at the top group. Batesman improves by even more time. Another 4/10 finds a 31.4 out of the bag. Lipsy will be the last one over the line. Does improve but stays P8. So it's Batesman and Feimster, your top 2. Then Dirty, Denoyer, Backer, Paulson, Fern, Lipsy, Jet on Fire, and Ruben F. Andrade. Simon Novak starts P11. Then Martin Beauty, Matt Smith, Romanesh, Jack Lantern, Benjamin Garcia, Daniel Ricciardo, Felipe Contreras, Imran Shaikh, Mario Fonseca, and Charles Leclerc. 5.6 seconds down. Will start P21 for round 5. Whew, that hot up a bit. That heated up a bit. What's the word? I can't English. I promise I can English, but I can't right now. So let's take a look at the tyre options for today. If I press the right button. As usual, we have the red-walled option tyres and the white-walled prime tyres. Options are, as usual, the fastest, and we're expecting around about 1.3 seconds per lap, but that could be more, depending on how good you are, really, with the tyres. Maybe some tyre saving needed on the options in particular to make a one-stop work. As mentioned in the F1 race, it's the same case here. What was I going to say? The pit lane length here is very long. It's even slower in these cars because you're doing 80 kilometers an hour instead of 100. So you're doing it's probably around about a 30-second pit stop. We're expecting. I should have got AC remote up to get details of who's on what tyre. So one stop seems to be possibly the preferred strategy today, but there are a few people that will still go for a 2-stop. This is the old AC, so Assetto Corsa, not Assetto Corsa Competizione. We are a few seconds from the start. I'm noticing Jens will be starting on the prime tyres with the rest of the top 6 rather, all going for the option tyres. So Jens should maybe dropping back in the field, but if he moves forward, well, that's pretty much race over, I would think. Fern, Smith, Jet on Fire, and Beauty all starting on primes, as well as Simon Novak. They're all starting on the primes. Everyone else is starting on the option tyres. Here is our predicted pit stop strategy. It's a 46-lap race today. And tyres. A few people saying that I'm hearing the horn in the background that just says all thanks to Race Sim Studio for these cars. They're awesome. As we go to the lights, 20 seconds from the start here at Imola. Jens has switched quickly to the options. As the lights come in and go out, and we're away at Imola. Feimster looks to have a good start, but Baseman's got him covered off at the minute. Dirty's got the outside line for Tamburello, but it's looking like a pretty clean start so far. But we haven't reached Tamburello yet. Braking for the first corner, and Jens has the lead. Dirty's got caught up with Feimster, and it's a pile up at turn number 3. 6, 7, 10, 12, all of the cars. Most of the rest of the field is caught up in this. The only people getting out of it alive are Bensma, Denoy and Paulson. All because Dirty got squeezed into the apex. Everybody's still recovering from it, including Ricardo, Smith, Nesh, Feimster, Greg. You can see them all at the bottom. Fonseca's already retired from this. Feimster's involved as well. He's taken the escape road around the exit, around the outside of the Tamburello corner. Everybody else has got back going again. Dirty's the first of these cars to have got back going again. This has just got things going completely. It's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons well and truly. Contreras has had a spin at Villeneuve. He's waiting for everyone else to come round. But that was a disaster. Batesman leads by 2 seconds over I keep saying Fabio Di Noia. It's Andrea Di Noia. I know that. I promise, Andrea. Bakker is third, 4.5 seconds down on that. And then Lipsy and Paulson and Beauty are in this battle for third place. Then comes the recovering pile-up. The recovering Spa 98 pile-up of Dirty, Jet, Fern, Shike, Lantern, Novak and Andrade, all pretty close to each other. Then there's a 4-second gap back to Nesh and the battle for 14th between him, Smith and Feimster. I really feel for Feimster. He had such a great run. He got to the front of the grid and he's just, it's all gone. It's all gone. So he's going to have to recover. He is fast though, so we might be able to see some good results from him later on in this. Shike has come into the pits, possibly even for a drive-through penalty, I would think. But he was involved in the lap 1 carnage, so maybe this is for damage. I'm not seeing him pulling into a box, so I think that was a drive-through penalty for a jump start. Batesman pulling away ever more. Most people still on the option tyres, so Beauty's on the primes. Beauty's the lead car on the prime tyres at the minute. He'll be surely trying to go for a one-stop strategy. Here's Denoyo in second, and here's the battle for third between Lipsy and Bakker. Here's Lipsy in the... It's supposed to be a poor energy, a rich energy knockoff, but it looks more like a 2015 Lotus, as I've said multiple times. I should have looked at the graphics that I have on the extra graphics I have on my screen that say where people are, to see who got out of it alive. Shike and Contreras are battling for P18, a long way back from this. Looks like Contreras might have a move going into Piratella. Switchback down the hill of Piratella. He's going to have the outside for Aqua Minerali though, but he might get the job done before then. Is he going to dive? Yes, Shike's going to have a dive. And he'll stay P18 for now. That was a lovely little battle there. Meanwhile, Novak and Lantern are side by side coming down to Ravazza. Novak will stay P10 for now. Feimster and Nesh, meanwhile, side by side going into Ravazza. Nesh is going to be as aggressive as he ever is, as he ever has been, going into Ravazza, but Feimster's going to pull ahead for now. P13 for Feimster. Excellent recovery so far. I'm seeing 35 from Andrade, but I'm pretty sure further up in that field are some quicker times. I don't think they have Assetto Corsa on PS... Oh no, they do. They do, but they don't have... you can't have mods like this. So Imola is on the game, but the cars that we're using aren't. Novak's just dropped 2 places. He's had a slow run through Villeneuve, probably because of a spin. Andrade made up 2 places. He's done Lantern at the same time. I want to maybe look at replay at the end of the race. Maybe that was Andrade doing the both of them into there. Let's have a look at the battle for third place, the last of the podium spaces. Fonseca's DNF'd again. I think he came back on the track briefly, but he's pulled back in. That's not gonna materialise anything right now, as DOS is enabled now on lap 3 of 46. We've had a new app developed for us that works every time apparently. So we should see fewer illegal DOS uses. We'll actually see in the chat, maybe in the chat it'll say when people are using DOS illegally. I'll leave that on the right hand side just in case something comes up. And in fact, yes, Dirty has had an illegal DOS use in the only zone we have today. It's a good start for him. We'll keep an eye on that. Fern also used it one point during the race. I'll leave that chat up there on the right-hand side. Feimster's set a 33.8, much better lap from him this time. But here comes Garcia down the left-hand side, down the front straight. That DRS is super powerful, and Matt Stiff-Smith got that completely wrong. He forgot to turn for the corner. So he's breaking off track for Tamburello, and he's going way, way off and way, way down in the field. I think Ricciardo will be next. But he's got plenty of gap behind him, as Ricciardo's really slow. Ricciardo's had a problem going long before the corner. Does he know where Tamburello is? Backer going across the gravel, across the runoff at the exit of Aqua Minerale, and Lipsy just behind, ready to capitalise. Behind that is also Dirty on his comeback drive, catching up to Beauty, who's on the primes. Dirty's on the option, so maybe there's a move into very anti-alta. Don't do it around the outside into very anti-alta. Bloody hell. He's going to make the move stick, surely. He's done it. They're still side by side, but Beauty's going to have a little bit of AstroTurf to deal with. It's going to make things a bit more difficult. Beauty's going to have another look. He's got a better run, though, out of very anti-alta. Down the hill we go. LeGreg has a 1,400 second penalty. Why? And how? It's going to be DRS for Beauty, but not for Dirty this time, going down the front straight. Jet on Fire has done Lantern into... that'll be into Ravazza. I want to see this battle, because this is a three-way battle, but I want to see this as well, going into turn 1 at Tamburello. Dirty's looking left, he's looking right. He's going to try for the outside, but Dirty's going to close the door at the outside. Jet, Feimster, Lantern, all for 10th place. Running on lap 5. This is an excellent battle. Feimster's going to have a look. He's going to dive down the inside of Tamburello. Don't collide! Wow, that's close, but it stays... Jet stays ahead for now. He's going to be under threat from Lantern. Feimster's even having a look into Villeneuve. Don't try it there. Only professionals can try it around the outside of that Villeneuve. Down the inside, only if you make a mistake. Down the inside is even more dangerous, I would say. You beached. Ooh. That's unlucky. That's really unlucky. Garcia and Nesh still battling. There you can see it just there in the background. Garcia's done it into Tosa for 14th place, and the lower reaches of the points. The gap at the top is sort of flatlining now at about 5 seconds. All staying together now, but I want to see here. This is a battle for 7th place. That is Fern down the inside of Andrade, or is it Andrade looking around the outside of Fern into Variante Alta? It's caused Beauty to clear off ahead. In fact, what happened to Beauty? Because Beauty and Dirty were alongside, so I think Beauty went off at some point, because now he's under threat. He's 7 seconds back from Dirty, and he's under threat from Fern and Andrade. Guess what I forgot to do? Get a drink. Feimster, Jet, Lantern, a little train. Feimster's going to be really under threat, but he's got a decent gap going as Jet and Lantern battle coming down the pit straight. This might end up being 3-1 into Tamburello. Where's Feimster going to defend from? Is he going to defend from Jet or Lantern if we go down to Tamburello? It's going to be 3 wide into Tamburello. Lantern's backed off pretty well. Lantern's backed off, and Jet makes up the place past Feimster. I was worried there that Lantern was going to try a move there, as Feimster goes for a move down the inside of Villeneuve, and Keith makes it stick. He's gone off into the gravel on the exit. He's not going to get beached, but he's going to drop behind the both of them and have Novak for company, and maybe even Garcia, who seems to be on a pretty good run so far. Lantern's actually done Jet into Tosa. Is my voice too loud? I might turn it down a little bit. There we go. Try that. There we go. It's just on the edge of yellow. So this is quite an exciting race. I'm quite loud. I told you this would be more exciting than Formula 1. Andrade, Beauty, Fern in the battle for 7th place. We should be seeing the first pit stops around about lap 12 if you're doing a 2-stop, and 16 if you're doing a 1-stop. Garcia has done Novak now. This into Variante Alta. That's going to go up the hill out of... Oh, I'm just seeing Feimster having a look on Jet already. He's going to have an inside line into Ravazza. The trickiest braking zone on the track. That's just my opinion, though. Oh, Feimster's had a little back end step, but he's stayed in front for now. He might be just letting Jet by for now. But Jet's going to be the one with the DRS, so he's going to clear past Feimster surely down to Tamburello. But still, behind this is going to be Garcia, and there's Novak, and maybe even Nesh in the background there. Jet goes ahead of Feimster for now into Tamburello. No more illegal DRS penalties so far, which is a good sign. Lipsy's dropped outside of DRS of Bakker. Oh, a little punt from, sorry, a little dive from Feimster into turn 1. I'm seeing the messages. I don't know if there's any more that I've seen. The last one is just scroll down the chat. There's nothing more. Fern's had a spin. He's had a moment at Aquaman Raleigh, a little, maybe a half spin because he's facing the right direction and he's got going fairly quickly. But he's going to drop behind Lantern, who moves up to 9th place, which is possibly his best result. Oh, there's more messages in the in-game chat. No, I'm not seeing that either. Lipsy's just had a penalty for DRS illegal use at the first zone on the front straight. I'm going to breathe for about 5 seconds. As we get going once again. For the next round of moves. Bakker's caught up to De Neuer for P2. As they head up to Tosa. At the top of the hill. Oh, sorry, at the top of the hill. The top of the hill is at Piratella. Yeah, I might have to ban you in a minute. Juan Manuel for spamming the chat. But yeah, I can see everything that's going on, I promise. Well, as much as possible. Any tips for making up 25 minutes? Alt F4, to be honest. Alt F4. The battle for 11th is back on. Oh, who's that? Who's sent some? Oh, sent some bits. Thank you, Bright, for 100 bit thingies. I don't know what they are. I've never done this before. Who's clearly happy. I don't think this counts as giving up if you quit, Charles. And thank you, Juan, for subscribing. I take it all back. But still don't spam the chat. Feimster goes over the AstroTurf a little bit, and so does LeGreg, and he's under threat from Fern now. Where's Fern come from? He's had another issue, maybe. A lock-up from Lantern just ahead in P9. So here comes Feimster, apparently the fastest of the two squeaky wheels cars this weekend. And he's going to have an inside run towards Ravazza. Nothing's up with you, you just got beach. It's not your fault, necessarily. Oh, that sucks, Bright. I'm really sorry to hear that. Yes, I was talking to you. You should. There's no shame in quitting for this one, Charles, because you know, a 20-minute penalty. What's the point, you know? Yeah, I agree with well. Hope you get better soon. Dirty looking around the outside of Paulson at Piratella. Is going to dive round the outside. Beautiful moving. A little bit of AstroTurf, but he's going to keep straight and true down the hill. Tuaco Minerali takes 5th place. 10 seconds is now the gap up to Lipsy. Dirty started in, I think, 3rd place, wasn't it? 3rd or 4th? Out of Arianti Alta, Paulson probably with a pretty good line. I know you guys are quite like Crab. Paul Paulson is Crab. Our driver of the day from Austria. We didn't have a driver of the day in Silverstone because it was 1 vote apiece. Denoyer's just set a personal best, but he's still got Bakker on roughly the same time so far, so he's going to have a bit of pressure still. 0.8 of a second slower was Paulson, and Jets had a spin. That's a spin at Variante Alta on the exit. He's got Matt Smith coming up to him now. Garcia and Fern. Garcia's done Fern round the second Ravazza, and it's going to be Garcia with the DRS and not Fern. Now we'll see how strong it is. Dirty's had a spin. He's gone off at Villeneuve. Did Paulson try and move at Villeneuve, do you think? Feimster's done Lantern as well for P9. That might be a penalty for Paulson if he tried to do a move at Villeneuve that caused Dirty to go off. Yeah, you could do actually one more. Well, thank you. That would be. I don't want to take. I don't want to take my eyes off this race for any number of minutes at this point because it's really good. Sure, we'll put you in the pole. Jack Lantern, less than a second back from Feimster. These two have been battling for quite a while. Batesman with the fastest lap at 32.5. Oh, a little moment there for Lantern. Had to stamp on the brakes on the exit. 7/10 faster was back of that lap. He's going for a move already down the inside towards Tamburello, and he's done it long before the break is done, at least 400 metres before it. Jet's had another spin. Lantern's had a little moment at Variante Alto as Fern goes as a half spin as well. Jet in the number 69 Campos car. I think there was a moment at Piratella. His tyres look kind of hot because he's still having some moments. Fern doesn't know where... Oh, Fern, that was so clumsy. He didn't know whether to make a move or not, and he's just careered into Novak. I think and Novak's stuck. Novak's beaching the gravel. Oh, Novak. That sucks. That really sucks. That was such a clumsy move from Fern. He tried it down the inside. It wasn't even alongside and just went, should I do it? Should I not? And dive. Gone. And it just didn't work. Novak's stuck. He's going to be stuck for a while, I think. I don't think he's going to get out of that, I'm afraid. I'll let you know if he does get moving. De Nooijer, 7/10 down at the minute from Baku, who's going to turn up to this yellow flag zone. Smith just dropped 2 places behind Fern and Ricciardo. I think it might be because of a moment at Tamburello. It's sort of, he had to keep going. Novak, I don't want to be the one to tell you he's teleported back to the pits, so maybe he's back to the pits. So maybe that'll keep going. Back has just set a new personal best of 32.9, only 4/10 down on the fastest lap. They're not using all the track there. That's another penalty for Jens. That could cause some issues. I believe the penalty we set was 3 seconds per illegal use on lap 11 for illegal use there. And Jake Fimes has had one as well. I think he sort of a benefit of the doubt one there. Well, he thought he had it and then he didn't. He got a bit excited, I think, because the gap is just over a second. I can tell. It's 8/10 now actually because of the slipstream, but yeah, that counts as being illegal there. Yeah, go eat, Charles. Enjoy. Sucks that you can't be in this race today because it is quite good, and you could have very easily what's the word I'm looking for? Taken advantage of the incident at the start. Ricciardo's into the pits, the first one to pit on lap 12. He'll come out at the back of the field. Feimster goes a long way off at Piratella, and that still means he's going to have a look at Beauty for P8. Ooh, little counter steering needed up the hill at Acqua Minerale, but he's got a good enough run to maybe have a look into Alta. No, not this time. Might just copy that straw poll, just so I can make sure it gets posted later on. There we go. So the vote for driver of the day will open a little bit later on, probably around about lap 30. Paulson into the pits now for the first time. He's switched to another set of options, it seems. So he's going to go for a 2-stop strategy, I believe, unless the server updates. Yeah, he's on the option tyres still, so we'll just double check when he comes out. Garcia into the pits from P10. He's on the option tyres, so we're starting to see the first pit stops from the option tyres. As it's a really long pit lane, so Paulson's only just come out. He's come out in P10, just behind Lantern. So there's a position there if he can get his tyres up to temperature quickly. Imran Shaikh catching up now to Matt Smith for P14. So far, Batesman's doing everything he needs to do. Novak's left, and I can understand that. He got beached in the gravel there. As I hear gravelly noises in the background, that is Fern who's gone off at turn 2, at turn 3. No! Oh no! I was like, don't reverse onto the track, and then came his Jet. I was like, nope, not going to happen. Fern is out of that. Jet stopped. He's going to have so much damage. That's Fern DNF'd as well. Oh, Fern. Bad to worse. First takes out Novak, now takes out Jet from a clumsy and frankly irresponsible rejoin. I can understand he wouldn't want to go forward to get beached, but oh my god. I'm sounding like Murray Walker, just going, oh god! As if my parents hear that out of context, they will have no idea what I'm talking about. F1 fans though they may be. Andrade 35-0. I'm just talking about random things now. Paulson out the final corner. He's got a really good run on Lanta for P9. As Lanta goes into the pits, so never mind. It's a really early speed limit as well. You see the white line just at the divider. Beauty. Still the leader with the prime. Still the first guy on the prime tyres. Paulson goes wide on his brand new set of options. Jet is stuck. He's gone off a very anti-Alta. Oof, that was a close rejoin. With, I think that was actually a backer. Yeah, almost collected backer. Rejoining the track. Lantern pits, he's come out in P13 and Jet's gone. Please let that not be the server. It's just Jet. It's just Jet. Who has, yeah, his connections had a little issue. A real race of attrition. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Juan, well. I appreciate that. Lips is into the pits for the first time on the option tyres. Is he going to go for a one-stop or a two-stop? We'll find out in a minute as we see. He's just going to pull in now. He's pulling in. What tyres is he going to switch to? He's still on the options at the minute. He's going to come out on the primes. That's probably a one-stop strategy for him. There goes Dirty. Andrade is a very long way behind. Andrade is into the pits himself, but Feimster is coming out the corner now. He's going to do Lipsy, but Feimster's yet to pit. He's on the option tyres. 36 seconds for Lipsy overall. That's a long time to be. That's an agonising wait in the pit lane. I remember when Sergio Perez first started in Formula 1. He said he didn't like being in the pit lane. He wanted to do as fewer pit stops as possible. And I can understand why. It's agonising, an agonising wait. And he said that in 2011, at the start of the Pirelli era, where more pit stops were going to happen anyway because of the the less durable, let's say, tyres. But this is the closest battle we've got on track right now. It's Matt Smith trying to catch Imran Shaikh. Both having their mistakes so far in this race. As I say, this is the point where the strategies start to play out. And we'll see some people shift about in the order. None of the top 5 yet have pitted just yet. They're still on the option tyres and they're on lap 16 on those options. But Dirty and Feimster yet to come past the pits for that. Dirty hasn't come in. We're going to see Feimster coming around the final corner now. We'll see. No, he's not pitting this time around. See, look at Smith going through Aqua Minerale. He takes a lot of courage, even in these cars that are a lot slower. Who put reverse and kill someone? That would be Fern, who backed onto the track of one of the narrower parts at Tamburello. I just wiped out Jet on Fire. There's nothing he could do there. And since then, Jet on Fire's had some connection issues. We just saw him take off at Ravazza into the houses of Imola. As that's Imran Shaikh coming to the pits for the first time from the option tyres. Batesma into the pits for the first time. I'll ride them all with him because there's nothing else going on right now. You see Shaikh just ahead. I'm assuming that's him. It might be me. And he's doing a much shorter stop, it seems. He's coming out on the prime tyres, though, so maybe OPO is the option. But I did see him stay there a lot. Well, him and Shaik came out at the same time, even though they pitted slightly separately. Bakker into the pits as well. So De Nooijer takes over the lead. De Nooijer is coming round. So Bates was coming up to Tamburello, and De Nooijer's heading into Villeneuve. So that's the gap. It's about 11 seconds. But obviously De Nooijer is yet to pit. The undercut might be the option here. Bates was having to weave on his tyres, his new primes. Bakker's come out on the primes as well, out in 4th place. Feimster's in for the first time. He's had a brilliant recovery. He's already up to 5th place before the pit stops. Here's Lantern trying to catch Smith for 11th place. On lap 46, we're not even halfway through. Fern pulled an E-Day. I guess so. I guess so. We saw, I believe it wasn't Novak, it was Paulson, I think it was, in the Skoda car, just turn into Villeneuve, just like E-Day and Albers, and he just lost it completely. Went careering off into the barriers and ended up upside down and having to teleport back to the pits because of it. Nesh is into the pits. And he's going to come out just in this battle between Garcia and Ricciardo. Nesh is going to drop behind Ricciardo for now. He's come out on the prime tyres. I hear gravel sounds. No, I'm wrong to hear those gravel sounds. No one's in the gravel. I still remember that. Watching that crash as a young child. I was like 6 or 7 at the time. 14 years ago, and seeing that flip, I was like, "Whoa! That was like the biggest crash I'd ever seen." That and Kubica after that was a big one as well. Ricciardo is caught right up to Garcia here. It's down a half a second. In fact, Garcia's really, really slow. He's let Daniel Ricciardo pass. Is Garcia out of fuel or something? No, he's still going as normal. He does sound slower, but you know, there's no damage or anything. I've caught that quite well, Shaik. And he's caught that relatively well. Careful with that rejoin. All good, there's no one near him anyway. Nice power slide through Acqua Minerale. Lantern around the left of Smith going down to Tamburello on their lap 18 of 46. Excellent run, moves up to 10th place. Lantern on the option tyres. He is yet to stop, I believe. I say I don't have any information. I kind of have to guess based on what part of the race we're in. But he should be pitting soon. De Nooijer's into the pits for the first time now. Will he come out ahead of or behind of Dirty? Dirty is going to be... There's no contest at all, actually. Dirty's coming around across the line now, and De Nooijer's only just getting moving, so he's going to be behind Bakker as well. Quite possibly. So he'll be at the back of this battle. In fact, I'm going to switch to it, because that's going to be really close. No, it's not. There's Bakker. There's De Nooijer in the background, just coming out of the pit lane. So your top 4 now, as we reach lap 19 and the first set of pit stops. It's Betsma, Dirty, Bakker, and De Nooijer. All the top 4 are on the prime tyres except for Dirty, who's sticking to a 2-stop with the option tyres, but he will need to catch Batesma pretty quickly and make a pass if he wants to do an undercut, if he wants to have any chance of that strategy working. Because at this rate, he's going to drop well down the order, maybe as low as 6th place. Beauty is still yet to pit. He's in 6th place on the prime tyres. He has been since the start. We should be seeing those tyres go to about lap 30. And that's only because that's when the fuel lasts until. Yeah, we sort of... normally what happens is the first 10 laps or so, until the first set of pit stops, is normally crazy, so much happening. And then we get this sort of calmer period, where I can breathe, and I'd take a drink if I had one, as the strategies play out. And then we get it picking up towards the end as well. Sort of around lap 35 to 40 as the last of the pit stops come come round. This is round 5 of the championship. We've only had 2 winners so far. Lowy won at our first round at Albert Park, and the second round at the Nürburgring, and the 4th round at Silverstone. And Jens Batesma, who is in the lead at the minute, won at round number at the Red Bull Ring. But Lowy's not here today. 2 winners in 5 races. It does look that way so far. But Dirty's still looking racy, and Bakker is maybe in the fight if he can pull something off on these prime tyres. He needs to catch, though. Right now, it's quite clearly Batesman that's got the advantage. I believe it was Batesman that won the last race of the last AF1 season. That was also at Imola. That was also my last AF1 race. But now, God knows if I'll ever be able to do it again. I never had. I'm like Hulkenberg. I never got a podium in AF1. I came close quite a few times. I got at least 2, maybe even 3 4th places. I think it was Portimao and Montreal, and here at Imola. But Imola was my best shot, and I lost it. Yeah, I'd say commentating for me was a lot easier time-wise for me, because I didn't need to spend that much time preparing for it. I could spend like 10-15 minutes getting ready for it, get all the information, and go. And I'd do that, and at the end of the race, that was it. Job done. But with AF1, it was also, as Ricardo, I'll come back to that in a second, Ricardo's had a spin, he's going to keep it going. No, he's got stuck in the gravel! I don't know where that is. Where was he stuck? That is at the second part of Villeneuve. He's stuck in the gravel. Another victim claimed at turn number 6. That's our 3rd guy to get stuck in the gravel just today. Meanwhile, Lantern round the outside is going to have the inside for Ravazza on Andrade. Nice and clean. Fairly cautious it looked like. Andrade might have the DRS though. I don't know where the detection point is. I think it's between the 2 corners. Yes, it's between the 2 Ravazzas. Oh, that sucks for Ricardo. Yeah, round is going to have the outside. And Andrade's going to try it around the outside for, I think, the first time that I've seen this race. We've seen it in F1 more commonly. But he's made the move stick. Stunning move. Nice textbook move. That really sucks. That really sucks, Daniel. Oh, man. I don't know if it's worth doing anything with these. There he is. I don't know if it's worth doing anything with this. I don't know whether you want to keep it this way. Yeah, you done a really good qualifying. And then everything in qualifying just went out the window the second we got to turn 3 in Dirty. I'm glad I caught Dirty going through turn 3. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Well, a bit of both. Batesman's had a spin! He's stopped at Villeneuve. Dirty's going to be right on the back of him. There's Dirty behind. This race just hotted up entirely. Dirty is still on the option tyres. He's still got a pit, but it's back at 6 seconds down. So this could turn into an interesting race. Not that it wasn't interesting before. It was incredibly exciting. Dirty. If Dirty can get ahead, he will have an opportunity to win this race. But he has still got to stop. Batesman might not have to. I was chilling there. I was laying back. I will have no advertisements here, other than ones that are permitted by the mods. Lipsy, 1 second down from Dirty. Oh, is Dirty pitted in all that? Did I miss Dirty getting pitting? No, he's still on the option tyres. He's had a spin as well. He's on the options. Mamma mia! Turn 3, lap 1. Dirty got squeezed by, I'm thinking it was maybe Feimster. And that just caused Dirty to spin. He got rear-ended by someone, that caused him to spin, and then everything else. Batesman's gone off again at Villeneuve. Maybe his primes are starting to wear out. We're only 23 laps into them. They should last a lot longer than the fuel will last. But yeah, once Dirty spun, that was just a roadblock for everything else, and everybody else got caught up in it. They didn't even try to stop because, well, where could they go? Dirty's into the pits now at last. He's gone a long way on the option. I think he's gone 24 laps on those options. He hasn't stopped yet, I don't think. He might have done, actually. But he's come out on the prime tyres, so that'll be his last stop. He doesn't have to go so far. He has to go 23 on the primes, which could turn into a good idea at the end. He's going to be running on lower fuel. There's an incident reported already by Simon Novak. Fern and Novak ran me off. That was on lap 11, turn 14, Ravazza 1. We know about that. We saw that on the stream, and I think we know exactly whose fault that was. All the field is sort of spread out now, but here's the closest battle we've got between Andrade and Smith. It's just over a second as we start to get the rest of the Batesma. I wouldn't say Batesma has to pit. He's got to go for 7 more laps to be able to do options to the end on a 1-stop. If he switches to a 2-stop now, he could lose the race to Colin Backer behind, who's only 6 seconds back. There are a few mistakes creeping in from Batesma though, as we've seen over the last 2 or 3 laps. Here he goes into Villeneuve again, his mistake hotspot it seems. Much cleaner this time and barely any exit apex, that's nice and clean, lovely. Yeah, Lipsy has a chance at a podium here if he can get it right. He's on the prime tyres, everybody in the top 5 is on the primes. Beauty and Batesma are the only 2 not to have pitted yet. Oh no, Batesma hasn't got a stop again. Because he pitted for the prime tyres at around about lap 16 to 18, I think. So he hasn't been on these primes very long at all. He's gone wide again at Aquaman O'Reilly there. Yeah, Lipsy's pitted as well because he switched to the prime tyres, I think. Yes, he has, because Beauty is the top guy on the prime tyres from the start of the race. He's yet to pit. He's currently in 5th place. Paulson's on the option tyres doing a 2-stop. Same for Lantern, I think, as well. He's on the option tyres. Feimster and Dirty on primes. Dirty's only just pitted. And Backer is getting caught behind Shike. He can't get past him. I'm noticing. You'll see it now. He'll have the DRS assistance potentially. No, doesn't even get that, but yeah. Oh, okay. Apparently Matt Smith now has 7... Oh, actually, that's just... I'm ignoring that. Matt Smith, another illegal DRS use apparently, but the other app hasn't come up. Oh, he hasn't got that app open. So he's had illegal DRS on lap 23 as Matt Smith. Paulson into the pits for his 2nd stop. He's done 12.12. So we're finishing this race with a 23 lap stint on the prime tyres. Ricardo's still in the pits, I believe, serving a what's it called? A teleport or a towing penalty. Paulson's going to rejoin, maybe with Lantern. It's going to be really close between Paulson and Lantern. Here comes Lantern down the inside towards Tamburello. He's made the job, kept the job going, and that's another illegal use for Matt Smith, apparently, on lap 25. Where is Matt? Here he is. I think he might have used it to get past Andrade. I don't think he did though. So might need to look at that at the end. Hint, hint, stewards. It's Batesman that still leads by 8.5 seconds over Colin Backer. De Noia is another 6 seconds back in P3, and then Lipsy in P4. Beauty's currently P5, and he has yet to stop. Still on the prime tyres from the start of this race. So when he pits, he'll probably drop back, probably to the just outside the top 10, roughly. Registration is open for it for reserves, I believe. We also have a couple of other series that I'll mention now while there's not a lot going on. We have our AF2 Endurance Championship. They're looking for a couple of main drivers for next weekend's race. That's round 4 at Chang. AF3, our new season of AF3 in the Audi TT Cup with push to pass and everything. That's a two-race event over 12 rounds. That starts next Friday. We're still looking for one last main driver and some more reserves. As Lanton comes into the pits from P10. Beauty's in the pits as well from P7, participating the first time. And we also have our Amateur League, AF4, currently using the Praga R1s, which you can sign up for as well, I think. No, they're closed actually because that's full. They've got 2 rounds left, and then they'll be open again for another season. There are reserve spots open for all of our leagues, AF1, 2 and 3. AF4 doesn't have reserves because that's only 4 weeks long anyway, 4 rounds long. And we also have our weekly races, which next week has just been announced to be, we're running the 1994 Formula 1 cars at Adelaide. Which sounds really exciting. I can't wait to drive them. So join us on Discord. Thank you Ocampo for teeing me up for the plug. Join us on Discord. It's !Discord. You can also go to discord.me/AssettoFriends to join us on Discord. Follow us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. You can see everything we're up to, all of our latest streams and highlights and teasers for new series. Yes, it's the Adelaide 94 cars. It's going to be really fun. Load of fun. Hey, it actually worked. I wasn't expecting the bot thing to work. I know it does, but I didn't set it up. Weekly races are on Saturdays and Sundays at 3 PM GMT. AF3 is on Fridays at 5:45 GMT. That's when practice starts. AF2 is every 3 weeks, but our next race is next Saturday. The 7th of November. That's Chang. Practice opens at 4:30 GMT, and the race, 5:30 GMT, and the race starts at 7. Qualifying starts at 7:30. And AF1, as you're seeing now, is every Sunday, starting at 5 PM GMT. Oh, and AF4 is most Saturdays. So the Saturdays when AF2 is not on, they're on at 4 PM GMT. But all the information you need is on our Discord. Go ahead and join us. Matt Smith keeps using DOS illegally. He's used it, I'm counting 5 times in a row now. So I want to double check him. We're riding on board with him now, so I'll just get the... He might not have the illegal DOS used this time, because I know he hasn't used it 3 times in a row. He's used it twice illegally in a row. It's just coming up every lap to say, because he's using the wrong DOS manager. That is, however, a penalty for Dirty for illegal DOS use on lap 27. Matt Smith will have the DOS wide open now, as you should probably see from that view. You can just see it on the rear wing there. And he's going to look at Beauty for P8. Down towards Tambo, pick the left, pick which side. It's too narrow to pick a side. He's had to ease off really, really early. So no positions change hands this time. Matt Smith will take his time. This is our last race for this weekend, I should say. But racing starts up again on Friday with the first of our AF3 races. We're at Watkins Glen for that race. Next weekend, I'm told, is Monza for AF1. Oh, don't try a 3-wide move at Tosa. Bloody hell. He's got Beauty and Paulson now in a battle for 7th place. This looks like a good battle to go to. I'm glad we have these wide angles. We don't always have the wide angles on the cameras on AC. But yeah, we'd love to see you on Discord. We'd love to see... Thank you very much for joining us today on Twitch. We'll have a full replay, including my sexy voice, on YouTube straight afterwards and on Twitch. And some highlights will come up in the week as well from some of our old races and the most recent race that we've run. Yeah, absolute F's in chat for our founder, Daniel Ricciardo, who beached it at Villeneuve. Give me some F's, chat. Meanwhile, are any more positions going to change hands now? Smith's got Paulson to deal with going into Tamburello this time because Beauty's got a person in between. No move this time, but they all get very close to each other. Paulson might have a little check there. But yeah, we're down to 15 riders. We're down to 15 races in this race out of the 21 that started it, for various reasons. Whoa, way too fast for Smith now, and he's going to get beached. No, he's going to keep it going. Don't beach it. Oh, my heart was in my stomach there for a minute. He's got it going again. Well done to him. He's going to be P10. He's got almost a third of the track of a gap between him and Garcia in 11th. The track, the field's really spread out now. We're normally on like 22, 23, and we're now down to 15. It's kind of weird looking at all this. But there is a battle going on. For P5, it's Dirty catching Feimster. There's also a battle behind between Paulson and Beauty that we were just looking at. So we'll come back to that if we need to. But this is where the action will be soon. Feimster, arguably the new rising star, along with him and Bakker. So him and Bakker, those are the two new rising stars in AF1. Feimster had a good result last time. Ooh, maybe round the outside for Dirty, but not gonna make it this time. Maybe do a switchback try around the outside of turn 4. No, it's not going to happen. But he's going to have a little look down the inside of Villeneuve. He is. He's going to switch really suddenly to the inside. He's going to be down the inside of Villeneuve. He's had a little moment on the curb, so he's going to have to back off from that one to avoid a full spin. So that'll have to wait. Whew. Beauty is the only person on track right now that's on the option tyres. Everybody else is on the primes, probably going for a one-stop strategy, or are in the or have pitted this second time. So Beauty's the only person really that will have to stop again. So this could end up being roughly the order that it finishes in. Dirty has a look into very anti-alta, but doesn't go for it this time. But with a good run down to Ravazza, he could make a little pop. But he's also got a bloody long straight ahead of him. He's going to pull to the left really early is Dirty, and he's got the move done. Feimster's going to pull back into the slipstream to maybe get a little bit of a run and pass him back before Tamburello. No, not this time. So this is the thing. These cars are a lot better for racing than the F1 cars because they're smaller. As I mentioned at the top of the show, they're a lot smaller. And Imola is still quite a narrow track, but it's definitely possible here. We even saw it with the Exos, which are a little bit bigger cars at the end of AF1. Anything can happen. I'm kind of sick of seeing Matt Smith with the same number of penalties from DOS because he didn't download the new version of the app. We have a new app for DOS, as I mentioned earlier, that is custom made, bespoke for us, a much more lightweight design. Seems to work all the time, maybe, I would say. I think I'll switch. Let's switch to the battle. Smith trying to catch. There's Andrade ahead for P9. Contreras has stopped on track and he's gone off at turn 4. Has to be careful to avoid Dirty and Feimster, but does so pretty cleanly. And will rejoin, stays in 15th place, which is currently last. But still points. At the minute, Mongols will get some points again. And in fact, Smith's done Andrade. The gap was over a second when we looked back at it a minute ago, so maybe Andrade had a mistake down at Ravazza or Varianti Alta. But Smith has taken 9th place from Andrade. Maybe that battle can keep going for a little bit longer. If I paste, I'm going to paste the link now. This is the Driver of the Day poll. Love for you to send in your votes. If my keyboard will work. I have a vote myself. I wonder who I'm going to vote for. Who would be my driver of the day, I wonder. Whoever caused the lap 1 turn 3 pileup should get a DQ. That's from Danny Ricciardo in the incidents report. Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that, I think. As Matt Smith comes into the pits, he's on the prime tyres, so maybe he's switching for the last 13 laps on the options, going the OPO strategy that I don't think we've seen so far. And I'm hearing from Fonseca that his PC crashed, which is why he didn't take the start, which really sucks. Smith's been in the pit lane for a very long time. He's come out in P10, a long way behind any chances at an improvement in positions. Unless someone pits, which probably won't happen now. Bakker comes across the line with a 34.8, 20 seconds down on the leader. De Nooijer is 3rd. And Lipsy 4th. That's getting quite close, I think. Lipsy's starting maybe to catch De Nooijer. The gap is 4 seconds. And yes, Smith's come out on the option tyres, so him and Beauty are the only two on the options. With about 12 laps to go. It's time to see, I think, who is in the frame for Driver of the Day today. Who am I voting for, I wonder? I think... Where is he? There he is. I'm going to vote for him. And it's one vote apiece at the minute for Bakker, Lipsy, Feimster, Novak and Le Greg. More votes means more support. That's as simple as I can put it. So I'd appreciate every vote you can give us. Yeah, we did try having safety cars once. I think you were there for it, well. It was like your first race or something, maybe our Indy 250 event, I can't remember. But yeah, we tried it. It worked really well, but people were getting a bit fed up because it kept happening, because it was, you know, an oval with people who had never really done oval races before. Or some of them hadn't. So, yeah. But we are looking into some more ideas. If you join our Discord, we'd love to hear all the suggestions you can come up with. Oh, you joined after Race of Champions? Okay, did you join because of Race of Champions? Like because you saw it on Twitch or something? Because that was like the hoarsest I've ever become from commentating. I'd gone 2 hours, we reached the end of the group stages, and my voice was gone. And I was so exhausted, I almost fainted. So I had to put. Luckily, I had a bottle of cider in a bag by my desk, and I opened it on the desk, which is something I'd never done before. I hope my parents didn't hear that; they'd kill me. So I drank it then, and suddenly I became so much better. That's a good point. Maybe, yeah. I'll talk to Daniel about that actually. Well, he's listening to this anyway. But we've got a few ideas. We've got a few new things coming up. Not necessarily event-wise. We are looking towards now our 1,000 member special. We're still deciding what that is at the minute. So zip. We're on about 830 members or so. So I say all new members are more than welcome. Yeah, but as we say on all of our sign-ups, we're more than open to any changes of rules mid-season, because well, we want to make this community better, and we can't wait. We shouldn't wait 12 weeks to make our community better. We should be making it better all the time. So we're absolutely open to any changes. It's still back to the race. It's still. As Imran Sheikh goes off, that's a spinner at Villeneuve. Maybe even coming together with Nesh a little bit. As I see that's Dirty going off in the background. He's going to have a much luckier fate than his teammate, and will rejoin in 6th place behind Jake Feimster. But still, wow! He just back end just went under braking. It looks like into Villeneuve, which is a very common mistake, particularly in this game and these cars. You've got to be on edge with the braking at all times to be as fast as possible. But it seems like now, as Batesman tries to get round, almost gets round, I think that's Contreras in P15. It looks like now Batesman's got this in the bag. There's 9 laps to go in this race, and nobody's even challenged Batesman. Even despite a couple of, granted, small mistakes, and one stop on track stoppage, but he's just commanded it again, as he always does. As my computer freezes. I was wondering when the obligatory computer freeze would happen. Here's Jake Farms from 5th place as Beauty comes in the pits once again. He'll be pitting for option tyres in his 3rd stop, I believe. Very interesting strategy Beauty's going for there. Oh no, this will be his 2nd stop. He's done POO in this race, which is normally the strategy that Lowy goes for. But it clearly hasn't worked here. Because a 1-stop appears to be more powerful, as we've seen from Jens at the top in P1. They're lowering for Beauty over the curb. Careful there. But let's take you for a lap round Imola then. Do this one completely silently so you can hear all of the sounds. And there you go, there's one lap around Imola with no interruptions from me. Just so you can hear the sounds. You can see, I could notice really high on the rev range going through Villeneuve there. Yeah, that wasn't me being silent. Well, it was me being silent, but deliberately. Just let you go for one lap. One full lap with Lantern. Dirty has another moment on the exit of Ravazza too. How am I catching these moves? Everything bad that's happened to Dirty during this race, I have caught at exactly the right moment. We are 7 laps from the end now. And 7 laps from me being able to have a drink. Everybody's nice and spread out. I say nice, it's kind of mellowed out this race. Paulson and that's Imran Sheikh, who's got to lap. I don't know, this could provide some entertainment. Who knows? I'm a curse to Dirty. Yeah, the second it's like stage fright or something, but for cars. You switch to it, it's like, oh my god, ah! Gone. Let's try it again and see if it happens. Dirty. That doesn't count. I don't want Dirty to spin, to be fair, to be honest. But some excitement would be nice at this point, at this late stage in the race. Normally things pick up, but nobody's near to anybody other than Lantern on Garcia. Which is, yeah. And that's partly because of such a attritional race we've had today. I believe that's Lipsy lapping. It is Lipsy lapping Lantern there. That's not going to help his chance at trying to catch Garcia. At the minute, this looks like it's going to be one of Lantern's best results this season. Let me just remind myself of what his best position is this season. Is 14th. He's only had 1 points finishing race, and that was at the Nürburgring, where he finished P14 and got 2 points. So this will be tripling his total today, with another 4 points to the back for a 12th place finish. But everybody right now is expected to gain points, which will be very disappointing for Ricciardo. He's currently P12 in the championship with a 6th and a 14th for points finishes and a 2nd DNF of the season. But it still means that at this rate, at least, Batesman and Lowy are the only 2 drivers to have finished first and second in every race so far that they have attended, at least. Batesman didn't turn up for the first round at Park, and Lowy hasn't turned up today, as is clearly evident. You would like to think. We've had like 6 DNFs. Charles Leclerc went off with Beach at the start of the race in the Turn 3 incident. Fonseca's computer crashed. Simon Novak got beached after being hit by Fern. Fern then went off himself and got beached and quit. Jet on Fire had connection issues and disconnected from the server. And Ricciardo also got beached on his own at Villeneuve later on into the race. Oh, Aqua Minerale. Oh, okay. I just assumed you were involved in that carnage at the start. You're not on the standings, you see. You survived turn 3. How far did you go up from turn 3? Because you've been the sort of driver this weekend, particularly with AF4 yesterday. You went from like the very back of the grid up to 6th to the very back again. So how far did you get up this time? P15, okay. So there were points on offer then. Which must suck even more. is Dirty on his another one of his recovery drives, and he almost made another mistake again as a switch turn. Don't slow down on gravel traps, do not hit people while rejoining. Yeah, you kind of got to think about your own race a little bit there, because, yeah, gravel traps seem to be a big issue. And there'll be an issue again at Monza, particularly at Variante Ascari, probably the trickiest of corners on the Monza circuit. Maybe a few mistakes into Lesmo 1 might cause some issues as well. But that'll be a really quick race, about an hour next weekend, I think. Everyone is sort of spread out as it seems to be clear. If you saw the graphics that I have on my screen, it's just a ring with all the people that are around on the track. There's so much space between all of them. Garcia stopped. And he's parked it. Where is that? That's at Ravazza. Ravazza 1. He's outspun on the exit of Ravazza 1. And he's lost out to Lantern for 11th place. But 13th place, Roman Nesh, is over here. He's just come out of Variante Alta, so I don't think Garcia will be losing out anymore. The gap is down to 3 seconds between Di Noio and Lipsy. Lipsy's turned it on with about 4 laps to go in this race, so maybe there's a shot at a podium for Lipsy. Come on, Lipsy! I mean, I'm kind of obliged to root for Lipsy because he's my teammate in AF3 last season and this season. Yeah, technically teleporting to the pits did work. Task failed successfully. The hill for Lipsy. He's got 3 seconds. He can do this. He can get a podium here in his second race of the season. His first as a main driver for Port Energy Racing. Lipsy, you have Daniel's energy. Go for it. Come on. By the power of Assetto friends, go. We need to... Avanti, go. Ya. Mush. Yeah, 2.8 out of the final corner. Seems to be staying about 3 seconds with 3 laps to go. I might just stay with this because, you know, nothing else is happening. The more often I say nothing's happening, the more chance there is of someone crashing to make something happen. That's my theory. Because Feimster's got to deal with getting around Garcia, a lapped car, and if he can get past him cleanly, he won't have to worry about Dirty behind. At least the first half of this race was exciting, you know? It was a very exciting first half of the race. If we could combine the last half of the Formula 1 race with the first half of this race, it would be one epic race. Still is 2.6 now. Lipsy's still pushing. 2.5 is closing. Probably not fast enough. Because Di Noio seems to be better in this third sector. Getting right under Alta. Oh, that's not good. You don't have a moment there. 2.8 now it's out to. Batesman has started the penultimate lap of this race. Round 5. He's commanded it from the front as usual. Well, I say as usual. When there's no lowy, it is as usual. This is turning into sort of a 1994 championship. You got a really big titanic battle between 2 drivers who never race with each other. Hill and Schumacher is now Batesma and Lowy. Because this will bring Batesma another 27 points. He's on 66 at the minute. Lowy's not going to move up any points. So 27 points, that is 93. So 8 points will be the gap as we come towards the halfway point of the season. 8 points. That's pretty cool. And they've both competed the same number of races as well. So that is a genuinely close fight for this championship all of a sudden. It might not look like it, but it's there. I promise. Imran Shaikh is catching up to the back of Roman Nesh for 13th place. That's down to about 2 seconds, the gap there. Lipsy's dropping off a little bit on Denoyer. Denoyer is actually getting to be maybe closer to Colin Backer for 2nd place than he is to losing a podium to Lipsy. Dirty's probably had another mistake, I think, because it's gone from 2 seconds to 8 seconds between 5th and 6th. Dirty hasn't even got past Garcia, the lapped car, who's just come off of your picture going down towards the very anti-alta. I think Lipsy's having some issues because he looks a little bit ragged all of a sudden. It looks quite slow. He's got 22 seconds that he can back off, but you know, Lipsy was a 10th of a second faster that lap. It's not going to be enough. Won the final lap and Bates was already up to the top at Piratella. The halfway point of the lap is going to go down the hill. There's the halfway point, heading towards Aqua Minerale. So we're looking for a mistake from Denoyer if Lipsy has any chance of taking a podium today. He's got the battling Beauty and Andrade just ahead. We'll keep watching this battle, and we'll keep watching it after Batesman's finished, because this could keep going for the final lap. A little bit of excitement to finish our race as Batesman's just behind, going through the two Ravazzas. Shaikh has done Roman Nesh. This is kind of hard now. Beauty's come across the line and taken 8th place from Andrade, but meanwhile, while all that's happening, Batesman comes home and wins his 2nd race of the season at the, I'm going to call it the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It's the first Italian race. He's at Imola. He's won it by nearly 30 seconds over Colin Backer in 2nd place, who's just coming through the two Ravazzas now. But I'm going to stick, while all that's happening, I'm going to stick with this battle between Beauty and Andrade for 8th place. It's less than half a second as they come through Villeneuve up to Tosa. Andrade's going to have a look around the outside. They both have a little lock-up. Nothing too significant. Andrade's going to pull to the inside. He's going to back it into the slipstream instead, going up the hill. They've also got 4 seconds to Paulson in front, but that's probably not going to mean anything by the end of this race. Legreg's come onto the board now and will finish P20. But this could be a really close fight to the line. 3.5 seconds was the final gap between Denoyer and Lipsy, 3rd and 4th. Backer finishes 2nd. Oh yeah, Bates and Rebecca on the same team. I didn't even twig that, but congratulations to them for a 1-2. That's going to really boost them for the Constructors' Championship. Dirty, so Lipsy, Dirty, Feimster, all and Jens as well will all have track limits penalties. Not track limits penalties, DRS penalties, but that won't mean too much. Andrade hasn't really got a good enough run out of the final corner, so it's going to be Beauty that comes home in P8 and Andrade will come home in P9. They're the last two over the line. So that concludes our race at Imola. Feim still finished in 5th, Dirty 6th, Paulson 7th, Beauty 8th, Andrade 9th, Smith 10th, then Lantern, Garcia, Shaikh, Nesh and Contreras takes the final point for what is actually Mongrels. And there's 2 cars fornicating. Actually, that's Bates and Rebecca, I think. So that's screenshot of chat before leaving the server. Yes. Can I? If I turn off maybe my auto start system and come out of this. I shouldn't be moving. Why am I moving? There we go. Where's my mouse gone? Here we go. I can go back to the hits. Just take a screenshot of that in a minute. Just sort that out first. There's a screenshot Poorly clipped because it's still got some of my data in there. That says Lipsy's first on that data, so that's pretty cool. That's the end of our race today. My voice is gone, so let's try and bring in somebody, maybe for an interview. I think we should bring in maybe Bates. I see Juan Manuel desperate, I think, because he's in the streaming chat now. Juan Manuel, I've unmuted the streaming chat, so you can talk if you want to.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I've been watching and hoping for Lipsius to bring my car home safe. So he did it, and he did it really well.
Yeah, I mean, you were the one. You probably one of the few people I was chatting to during the race all the way through. So you know what happened.
Yeah.
Who was your driver of the day? Let's start off with that.
Lipsius.
Lipsy.
Lipsius. Yeah, he saved it at the turn 3 pile up. So he went wide to avoid the crashes. He went to the inside and kept going, kept really well, and not a single error that I have seen, not even on the gaps. So, and also his strategy, he kept it really well since he went with options to primes, and I think his primes did like 30 laps.
Yeah, so yeah, most people will be able to do 30 laps because that's how long the fuel lasts. The primes last a very, very long time. It's the options where the conservation. You need to conserve the tires.
Primes are the go-to if you want to go for the long run.
Yeah.
And options are just okay. You will have performance for around, I don't know, 8 laps, and then it's just suffering. Really.
But while we were on the topic of driver of the day, let's have a look at who the driver of the day was. And it's a 6-way tie because nobody can seem to make up their mind. 1 vote for Bakker, Lipsy, Feimster, Novak, LeGreg, and Batesma.
Damn.
So okay, that worked well.
Yeah.
What I'm just trying to get up now is what happened at turn 3.
Turn 3, yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the replay to load. Hopefully it worked. It's a rather big boy. It's like 800 megabytes. So almost done, I think. Yes, here we go. So let's try and get up. If I switch to maybe this now. Which one's the TV view? Let's get blank view. Let's go for a blank view here, and we'll switch to. Let's first look at Dirty's view. Just skip a little bit forward to get to the start of the race. You can see he's already moving his wheel to the right, ready for that right-hand kink that comes straight away. Should be coming in about 10 seconds or so. Here come the revs, and here comes the green. So it's a good start from Dirty. He decided to pull all the way to the right to give himself as much space as possible. He'd gone around the outside of Feimster, and he just gets squeezed. And he clips Feimster there. And then all of this happens. There's cars that just don't know where to go, and they're everywhere. There's so many views we can look at this. Let's have a look at maybe a sort of a chase cam view of Feimster here, because it occurs to me this might actually be Jake Feimster's fault. Maybe. So here's the let's slow it right down to about 10 times speed. So it's Dirty on the right, as you can see in the red and black Turkish Torpedoes car, and Feimster in the purple Squeaky Wheels car.
Looks like he goes a bit wide, but
yeah,
it looks like he doesn't leave enough.
No space, not enough space there.
Yeah.
Feimster gets clipped, and then the rest, as they say, is history. Feimster gets away relatively well from this. So if I go back to normal speed, he goes off into the gravel. So he just gets to watch as all that happens, and he gets clipped as well by one of the Moax cars. There's 3 more cars over here. It's just a car park. Let's see if we can count the number of cars that were involved in this crash. I think this seems to be
about 15. Yeah, it should be about 15.
Let's see. So I think, yeah.
Wow.
So if we look at that's the Palace racing car. That's Denoya, I think. If I switch to Denoyer. Yeah, that's Denoyer. He gets to avoid all of this. He goes all the way around the outside of all of that and gets off scot-free. Everybody else behind that gets involved in some way or another. So that's...
No, also Lipsius avoided that as well, going outside as well. Sorry, to the
Lipsy
inside.
did get...
They
So
get
here's Lipsy's.
some, but no.
He has to take to the grass. He takes the gravel and avoids all of that. Beautifully done. So too does, I believe that's Novak. No, it's not Novak. He's facing the wrong way. Paulson got away well from that as well. He did the same tactic. But he actually collided with the initial... There's Dirty's front wing coming across there. And goes across to hit that. Actually, at this point, let's bring in Lipsy. I think, if we can. Hello, Lipsy.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Sorry to surprise you. Excellent race from you. We're just looking at the replay from lap 1.
It was Dirty and Jake getting a little...
Yeah, we're just...
Yeah.
If I share my screen on here so you can have a look as well at what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I did the Moses, I think. I didn't get any damage or anything.
Here we are. Can you see?
Yeah.
So we're looking at the initial contact here. So this is going into turn 3.
Yeah, Jake, we just talked to Jake. He didn't have his crew chief started, so he didn't knew that Dirty was on his inside.
That's a penalty.
Yeah,
then there's all of this. This is an excellent view right here. We're just trying to count up how many cars are actually involved in this crash. If we should count you because you did have to go across the gravel.
Yeah, but that's why I didn't go into the crash, I think.
Yeah, you managed to take enough avoiding action for this. So we're looking at the static camera and I'm seeing it's Jens and Denoyer.
Colin, Denoyer, Jens and me. And then behind me Crab as well.
That Jens and Denoyer were the only two that didn't actually have anything to do with the collision.
Oh,
Everybody else in the field, all 18 of them, were involved in some way. So there's LeGreg, there's Fonseca, they're all going to get involved in this in a minute. Fonseca actually backed off, so maybe he didn't get involved. No, I mean, you can't really avoid that. It's going through Spa 98 right there. Look at all of them. So there's Lantern and Contreras and Novak and Paulson managed to get away as well.
Yeah.
Andrade's still in it. Yeah, all of the rest of the field, all 18 remaining drivers got involved, which is like the biggest crash I've ever seen.
I mean, I profited out of that, but still, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, based on that, you should have got an easy... Well, I say that. You're there in about P5 at that point. But that could have been an opportunity for an easy P3.
Yeah, I was catching Denoyer.
Go on, sorry.
I was closing the gap to Andrea, like lap by lap, almost like half a second every lap. But my option stint was a little too slow. So at the end, was I think 2.5 seconds behind Denoyer. But I didn't spin, I didn't do many big mistakes, so it was honestly the best I could do today, I think.
I'm just seeing in the chat, Denoyer's saying he got hit from behind hard. I don't know when he got hit behind.
No, Deal said that he got
Deal,
hit.
sorry, wrong person. Whose Deal's in here? I forget.
I think it's...
Matt Smith, I knew that. Sorry.
Matt Smith, yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
Whew, P4 still.
Woo, a couple of launches here.
Oh, wow.
I think we're about to see an Imrax car go over the top. There he goes.
Oh.
Mating just there. So many different angles. We could be here all day just looking through the angles of this move. And
I hope nobody actually got beached there.
I don't think anybody did actually. But I'm seeing
Yeah,
Imran
nobody
Shaikh
did.
just sort of dragging as Ricardo's trying to do that. Shaikh just pushes, just rotates Ricardo and stops his teammate Nesh from getting involved. It stops his teammate Nesh from getting away. And that also blocks off, I believe that's Matt Smith again. Yeah, Matt Smith trying to recover from that. Yeah, I could be here all day just looking at that.
We will only penalize probably Jake for that.
I mean, yeah, everything
Because
else is sort of
everything
unavoidable.
after that, yeah, it's just...
It's Spa 98. and then some.
Yeah.
That's the entirety of the field, bar two, involved in that collision in some way, and that I've never seen anything like it.
You were
Some
at AF4, right?
I watched AF4 yesterday. Yeah, I was in the commentary.
So pretty much we're having the same problems here, and
Yeah, it's nice to know the amateurs are still having the same problems as the
yeah.
not so amateurs. Let's call them. They're not getting paid for it, so I can't call them professionals. But you know what I mean. Um, yeah. Do you think there's room for more improvement there, Lipsy, for next race?
Surely my option stint was just that tiny bit too slow. That's why I got P4 instead of P3. So I definitely need to work on my options. But yeah, I was just really not pushing it on the option stint. So I because the grip was still, I think, not where it had to be for me to fully push it. Yeah, probably some room for improvement, but don't forget that DK and Lowy didn't race today, so
Yeah, that is true.
that's already 2 positions probably lost for me already.
But I reckon there's a podium in there somewhere. But
Yeah, probably. I had one, I think, every season, so maybe, but I don't think I'm here for Monza, which is one of my best tracks, so we'll see.
yeah, I say Jens and Lowy have both missed one race each now. So what we do have is actually a real fight at the top. We have 8 points is the gap between Lowy and Jens, and they've both completed the same number of races. So that's a genuine fight at the top. But as I said in the stream, it's feeling more like 1994, or maybe 97, where they just never fought each other.
Yeah.
They're just sort of
Yeah.
separate. They take their 3 wins, and the other person's sort of languishing in the back somewhere.
Well, today was also Imola isn't a really good track for fighting.
But see, it was for the last season of for the last race of the last season of AF1. But yeah, I think the problem with cars getting beached a lot is sort of, is it a good idea to have that? What do you think?
uh there is a way to get around it. I always put my setup to the test if I can get beached or not.
And you raise the height of it.
Yeah,
Your
I always make sure that I can't get beached at any cost.
Okay,
So there is a way to get around it, and it really doesn't slow you down that much.
so maybe some regulations in future to put a minimum ride height in to make sure this doesn't happen again. Maybe.
I mean, it's a risk for everyone after all, and everyone has to decide for themselves if they want to take it or not.
Yeah, but of course everyone thinks, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to get beached. I'm not going to make any mistakes. But everybody does. That's what happens. They're humans. But from what we saw from your perspective, it looked like a pretty mistake-free race from you.
Yeah, I had just like 2 or 3 scary moments, which I caught pretty well, and no spins, which is a first, I think, in my AF1 career. I actually think that's true. I think I never did not spin in any race. Whatever. Yeah.
Two things from Daniel. First things first, he's advocating for safety cars to be implemented, which could be so much fun.
Oh
And
yeah.
secondly, he's asking what your ride height was.
I don't know. I just
You
slightly higher that.
kept putting it up until you didn't get beached.
Yeah, until the limit was reached, and also
Yeah.
I softened the suspension a bit.
Okay, Danny Wick's saying he got 100 to 200, I think. 100, 200, I think.
I have
For his
no
ride
idea.
height.
I just put it.
I mean, that means nothing
and
to me.
he
I haven't driven these cars too much, so.
and he still got pitch, because the
Yeah, I saw
usually
that.
on the front it goes 60 and the back is 120. So he raised the back to 200 and the front to 100 and still bitched it. Okay, that's pretty deep.
I think I actually have my car a bit lower, and in practice I went a lot into the gravel and I didn't get beached. So I don't know. Maybe there's just on the Assetto Corsa tracks different types of gravel or something, where
Yes.
in one gravel trap you can get more easily beached probably.
It should be pointed out as well that most of the people who got pitch lost the all speed, you know.
Yeah.
So they were standing still, and I think that's
Ah,
what
yeah,
gave it away.
probably. Yeah.
Well, the common thing with with all the tracks we've had issues with cars being beached, they're all Kunos tracks. We didn't have this issue at Melbourne. We have
Oh
at
yeah.
all the other tracks, which are all Kunos, so all the same texture for the gravel. So they're all going to get beached if the cars get stuck in there. At all the Kunos tracks. That's Monza next week as well, and many of the other tracks as we go through the calendar. Also, on a side note, it's really hard not to laugh when when you say the word beach, because you
Oh.
just say bitch.
I mean, it's English is not my first language. Okay.
I know. It's not the English part that's the problem. It's the accent. But that I say it's just
Okay.
funny. We just laugh at it. It's fine. I'm just a child. I'm just a child.
I have to say it's gonna be interesting Monza because if you go wide as Ascari, there's a gravel trap there.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the stream actually. Yeah, if you go wide at Ascari, that's the one place, maybe Lesmo 1 as well, where if you go wide and you get stuck in that gravel, yeah, you're stuck. It's a big gravel trap.
And also, if you spin actually before reaching Ascari, just turning left, it might be really hard to rejoin because of the way people have to go through that part of the track. You know, if you have people all the time going around that part, it's gonna be really hard to rejoin without endangering anyone like we
Yeah,
saw on F1 last year.
and the thing is that I think with real life F1, the exit of Ascari, that the exit of the third part, there's normally that big tarmac runoff on the exit.
Yeah,
There isn't that so much
yeah,
for
we do not
AC.
have that.
There is still the tarmac, but there's still a bit of gravel, so it could take a while to get to that point if you can. And suddenly you've got such a speed differential. People flying out of out of the chicane. It's going to be really difficult, as you say, to get a good rejoin going.
Yeah, and also good thing that we don't have, for example, warm up laps and no one can pull a Coulthard. When he actually had pole position, but spun it and bitched it at Ascari.
So you can't keep a straight face now saying that either, can you? Yeah, beaching is going to be a bit. Was that? No, I thought that was Hakkinen that did that.
I think also both Coulthard and Hakkinen actually.
I don't tell it was both. Oh man.
Oh,
Okay. I think we'll leave it there for today. I've kept you all long enough. You should go and enjoy your Sunday night. Um, Other than that, I will say that thank you very much for joining us. We've had an intriguing race in some aspects, a race of attrition certainly. AF1 is back next Sunday for round number 6, the halfway point at Monza, which should be really fun. A huge slipstream battle, especially with the more powerful DRS. AF2 is back for round 4 next weekend. That's at Chang. We were going to do Bathurst, but that's been changed to Chang for safety reasons. I bet you can guess what they are if you've seen a stream from AF2 before. And AF3 is back for Season 3, Round 1 at Watkins Glen. We had a practice race last weekend, and on Friday rather. And let me tell you, it's going to be such an epic season. There's so many people with a shot at wins and championships at the front. And the push to pass makes things even more exciting. It's going to be amazing. It's a nice easy car to drive as well. So as I say, AF1 is back same time next week at 5 p.m. GMT. AF2 will be back at about 7:30 GMT for qualifying start. And AF3 is back 5:45 to 6 o'clock. That'll be roughly when the stream starts next Friday. And AF4 is back in 2 weeks for Central Round 3. But other than that, join us on Discord. Discord.me/Assetto Friends, or you can do !Discord in the chat. There's the link. Nicely done. Does Nightbot listen to me? I don't know. Join us on. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us or follow us on Twitch. We'd love to have every single one of you. The more the merrier. And we are getting closer to that 1,000 member special on Discord with an extra special event that will happen when we get to that point. But we haven't quite decided what that is yet, so we're not going to spoil anything. Thank you, Nicht Funky, for following. Someone's listening to me. That's thank you. I appreciate that. But until next time, until you hear my voice again next Friday, goodbye from me, and goodbye from Lipsy and One Man Well, who are with me as well. Because this connection is bad. But anyway, Drive of the Day went to you, Backer, and 5 other people. Because 1 vote per person on each